So what I want to do today is talk about adding signed numbers. And there's two techniques. This technique is going to be using a number line, and we are going to talk about adding fractions as well. But let's start with whole numbers, and let's start with the easiest kind of problem. So I'm going to take a number line. I'm just going to put 0 on it. I'm not going to bother with any other tick marks, and I'll show you why, because it makes it easier with rational numbers that don't easily go on a number line. But just giving you a visual can help. And what the number line gives you is the ability to know, okay, everything to the right is positive, and everything to the left is negative. In fact, I'm just going to write plus and minus just to make sure. So let's take a really simple problem that you guys already know without thinking about it. 3 plus 7. Obviously, it's 10. Let's talk about how that would look on a number line. So we'll put 3 somewhere on the number line. And again, I'm not going to bother to put a tick mark. I'm just going to put 3. And because we're adding 7 to it, we know we're going to the right because 7 is a positive number. So I'm just going to draw a little arrow, and I'm going to land somewhere around here. And I have to in order to get there, I have to go 7 units. So it would be 3 plus 7, and we're going to end up on 10. So that's how we know that 3 plus 7 equals 10 using a number line. Okay, that sounds really obvious. Let's do something a little bit harder, but not too much harder. Now we're going to do, so let me just move this over so you can see that. Let's see, we're going to do this, just move that there. Okay, so now we're going to do something a little bit trickier, which is, I'll do this in red, negative 3 plus negative 7. And I'll do the same thing that I did before. I'm going to put a tick mark somewhere for 0. Now here's the key. The negative 3 is going to be to the left of the 0. It's going to be right around here. You guys know how to do that. And I'm moving 7, but I'm moving to the left. So there's my little arrow by negative 7. But the same idea applies. If you think about it, the absolute value of 3 is 3. And then we move another 7 units to the left. We're moving a total of 10. We're going to be ending up going a total of 10 units from 0. But we're in the negative direction, so the value is going to be negative 10. So negative 3 plus negative 7 equals negative 10. Okay, take a minute and pause the video and just think about that for a second. And maybe try some simple problems like with negatives. I know you know how to add positives, like negative 2 plus negative 5, negative 4 plus negative 1. Just think about those. Pause the video and just try those. Okay, hopefully you've paused it, you tried it, you got negative 7, and you got negative 5. Now, let's try something a little bit trickier. Let's copy this. And we're going to mix it up a little bit. And now we're going to add a positive number and a negative number. So we'll start with 3 plus negative 7. Now let's think about what this looks like on a number line. I'll put my 0 here. I'm not going to put anything but 0. And I'm going to put 3 over here. And adding negative 7 means I'm going to the left. And since the absolute value of negative 7 is more than 3, right? I have to go at least 3, and then I have to go some more to get to negative 7. So my jump is going to go 3. I'm going to cross over 0. And end up somewhere around there. Let me put 0 there just to make sure that you see it. And if you think about it, right, this has to be negative 7, right? That's negative 7. I've gone, to get from 3 to 0, I've gone negative 3, which means that I have to go the difference between 7 and 3. This is going to be an absolute value smaller, so that's a distance of 4, right? Or since it's in the negative direction, it's negative 4. So 3 plus negative 7 equals negative 4, right? Again, think about what happened. I had to go from 3 to negative 7. I'm jumping over the 0. I go 3 to get to 0, and I go another 4 to get to 7. So take a minute and just think about that for a second, and maybe try some similar problems. Let's try 5 plus negative 8, 1 plus negative 6, and just try those in your head. So hopefully you got 5 plus negative 8 was negative 3. 1 plus negative 6 is negative 5. Let's go the other way. So in this case, the 3 was positive and it had a smaller absolute value than the 7, right, than the negative 7. So let's sort of switch this around a little bit and see what happens. So I'm going to copy and paste this, and I'm going to put my 0 in. Let's just give myself a little bit more room. So now what I'm going to do, instead of 3 plus negative 7, I'm going to try, is that what I did before? Instead of 3 plus negative 7, I'm going to try negative 3 plus positive 7. Negative 3 plus positive 7. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to show that I'm starting at negative 3, so it's the left of 0. There's negative 3. And I'm going to be adding positive 7, which means I'm moving to the right. And just as before, I'm jumping over the 0. So I have to go 3, and then another bit to get to 7. Right? So I'm ending up at 7. Sorry, not ending up at 7. I'm going another bit to get somewhere. And the bit that I'm going to, sorry, that was confusing. So I have to go a total of 7, right? So 7 is that arrow. And I go 3 to get to 0. And you can see that you have to go another 4 to get to where I'm landing. Right? And then you can get that 4. 7 minus 3 is 4. So this is going to end up at 4. So negative 3 plus 7 is equal to positive 4. So try a couple of those. Let's try negative 2 plus 5, negative 1 plus 8. Try those two. So you should have gotten negative 2 plus 5 is 3, negative 1 plus 8 is 7. The reason why, now I know you guys probably could have done this in your head. The reason why this becomes interesting is if we try something harder, like using fractions like 3/8 and 5/6. So we're going to do the same thing, only we're going to be doing adding and subtracting with rational numbers. Since we're using fractions, it's going to be important, since we're adding fractions, right, it's going to be important to have a common denominator. And you know how to do that with forgetting about negatives, right? So 3/8 and 5/6. Right, if we look at the multiples of 8, we get 8, 16, 24. Multiples of 6, 6, 12, 18, 24. So 18 is going to be our common denominator. So both of these fractions we're going to change so they're out of 24 is going to be our common denominator. So we're going to change those fractions. You guys remember this from the number operations. So in order to get from 8 to 24, we have to multiply by 3, which means we have to multiply by the form of 1, which is 3 over 3. We get 9 24ths. And 6, we have to multiply by 4, so we have to multiply by the form of 1, 4 over 4, and that gives us 20 24ths. So we started with 3/8 and 5/6, but we're going to switch it to 9 24ths and 20 24ths, and that'll make our lives easier. So let's go back to our number line and do the same thing. I'm not going to do 9 24ths plus 20 24ths in positives. That's going to be 29 24ths. We'll just leave it at that. 29 24ths is the same as, let's just write that down. So 29, sorry, 9 plus 20 is 29, so 29 24ths, which is 1 and 5 24ths. We will try that with negatives. So if we were to do negative 9 24ths plus negative 20 24ths, okay, put our 0 here. The same thing happens. You want to think about the fact you're starting with negative 9 24ths, so we're going to be on the negative end of things, which means that we're going to put a dot here for negative 9 24ths. And we're adding negative 20 24ths, so we're going to end up going this way by 20 24ths, right? And together, together they're going to form essentially what ends up being that distance, right, ending up over there, which is 20 24ths plus 9 24ths, and that's also going to be 29 24ths. But it's going to be negative because we're on the negative side of the, so this is the negative 29 24ths. Oops, let's get rid of that, and we'll move that over here. So it's basically the same thing as adding fractions that are both positive, except your answer is going to be negative. Where it gets a little bit tricky is when you're adding fractions that are, one of them is positive and one of them is negative. So let's do the same thing. We're going to be using, so let's take this again and make a paste. Oops, that's not what I'm pasting. I want to paste this. Paste this down here. Okay, and we're going to be working again with 9 24ths and 20 24ths. Let's make one of them negative and the other one positive. Let's make 9 24ths negative, and we're adding that to positive 20 24ths. So same idea, put a 0 down for the number line, and we'll start with negative 9 24ths, which is going to go to the left of the number line. It doesn't matter exactly where it goes. So we'll put negative 9 24ths. And now we know that negative 9 24ths, this distance here, is less than this distance here, right? So we're going to be popping over 0 and getting to here by 20 24ths. So let's do that. So we pop over, come to here. We're landing someplace. So where are we landing? Well, in order to get here, this is 20 24ths. We had to already go 9 24ths. So this distance here is the difference between 20 24ths and 9 24ths. The difference being a subtraction problem. So it's going to be 20 24ths minus 9 24ths, which is 11 24ths, and that's where we're landing. We're landing right here at positive 11 24ths. Okay, right? Because in order to get from negative 9 24ths to here, we have to go 9 24ths, and then we have to go another 11 24ths. Together, they come to 20 24ths. It's exactly the same thing that you did up here when you said negative 3 plus 7. Right? When we did this, we had to go 3 to get to 0, and then another 4 to get to 4. So negative 3 plus 7 was positive 4. The only difference is we're doing this with fractions. And let's swap it around now and do the opposite. Let's copy this, paste it. Let's put it down here. And so we'll do 9 24ths plus negative 20 24ths. Okay, so same idea. We'll pop a 0 here. Pop a 0 here. And we're starting with 9 24ths, so we'll put that on the number line. So put that on the number line here. There's 9 24ths, the positive number. And we're going a distance of negative 20 24ths. So that means that we're going this way. And we're going to pass over 0 and land someplace over here. So let's think about this. So we're going somewhere over here. And in order to do that, the distance that we're going is 20 24ths. We're going into the left or the negative direction. We first have to go 9 24ths. Let's make that a little bigger. And then we have to go the difference between 20 24ths and 9 24ths, which gives us, again, 11 24ths. So we end up here at, we've gone another 11 24ths. We end up here at negative 11 24ths. So take a minute. Let's put this on. Just think about that for a second. We're doing essentially the same thing that we did over here, where we said where we said 3 plus negative 7 got us to negative 4. Right? Only instead of doing it with whole numbers, we're doing it with fractions. But it's exactly the same thing. In order to get to negative 9/24, we had to go from, in order to get to negative 11/24, we had to start with 9/24, go 9/24 to get to 0, another 11/24 to get to negative 11/24. So 9/24 plus negative 20/24 equals negative 11/24. And that's the answer to that problem. So to make it a little bit easier, I'll give you some problems with easy fractions. So try, say, negative 3/8 plus 5/8, negative 7/9 plus 11/9, 2/11 plus negative 5/11, and just one more, 1/12 plus negative 7/12. So try those. Put the video on pause. Try those and see what happens. Okay, hopefully you did that and you ended up with 2/8, which is the same thing as 1/4. You end up here with the second one, this one over here. You end up with a positive number. It would be 4/9. With this problem here, you would end up with a negative number, negative 3/11. And with this problem here, you'd end up with negative 6/12, which is the same as negative 1/2. So hopefully that's a way of using number lines. I'm going to show you in another video how to use, how to sort of put numbers together and cancel things out like debt or like the chipboard in order to solve the same problems.